everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen, where I'll share family favorite recipes, both sweet and savory. Today, I'm going to make buttermilk biscuits. So let's get started. So to start, we have 2½ cups of flour, and I'm just going to agitate this. And we're going to go ahead and put in 1½ teaspoons of salt. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, and 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to mix all these together. Make sure all these ingredients are mixed in. And I think that's going to be fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut our shortening in. This is 1/2 cup of vegetable shortening, and let's go ahead and put that in. Some bakers like to cut their shortening in using 2 knives. That's how my mom used to do it. My grandmother used to do it. Or you can use your fingertips. I like to use a pastry blender. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and this is referred to as cutting in the shortening into the flour. Just kind of cut it all in, lift, cut in more. And our goal here is to get our flour and our shortening incorporated together to represent pea-sized crumbles. I like to use shortening instead of butter. I feel like when you use butter, the biscuits are a little bit heavier. So I'm going to use shortening to make a lighter biscuit. Remember, we're using buttermilk, so you get that buttery flavor. And we're going to brush the end product with butter too. So we have enough butter in here. I believe that's good enough. Can you see how this is nice and crumbly? Alrighty. So now we're going to add in our 1½ cups of buttermilk. Now, if you don't have buttermilk, you can always use, now here's what I do when I'm using this recipe. I'll do 1 cup of regular whole milk plus 3 tablespoons of milk and 1/4 cup of white vinegar. Now, or you can use lemon juice. Now, what this happens is it helps to clabber the milk, and you're making a homemade buttermilk basically. But I'm going to go ahead and use real buttermilk today. You just want to stir this in, and you're going to see something that really looks awesome. When you get this all stirred in, we want to make sure it's all stirred in. If you wait a few minutes, you're going to see it kind of get a little bit fluffy. And that's where our buttermilk and our leavening are reacting. Remember, we're using baking powder. Double acting baking powder works with a liquid to help to raise it. And also the heat from the oven that's going to raise your biscuits as well. That ought to do it. Okay, I'm going to flour my surface and turn my biscuits out onto my my prep mat. Sorry, excuse me. Got to get every little bit. I like to use this bench scraper or pastry scraper because I don't like touching the dough too much. I want a nice fluffy dough. And basically what you're doing is you're taking your dough and you're folding it on top of itself. And what this is going to do is this is going to make layers. You just do this until you get to the right consistency. There we go. You can use a rolling pin to spread out your biscuits, but I like to pat them out. There's two things that happens when you pat it out. The love that comes from your hands is going into your dough. And you can kind of control it. A little bit better than a rolling pin. With a rolling pin, you might put a little bit too much pressure on it and lose some of the height of your biscuits. And as you see, I'm kind of evening it out on the sides. There we go. To make a beautiful, tall biscuit. Not too tall because they will collapse when they bake. They'll kind of be a little bit lopsided. So here's my finger. That's 1 inch. So I'm going to make them about an inch. You can make them about an inch or an inch and a half. Anything taller than that, it's going to make a huge biscuit, but it's, like I said, it's going to collapse on itself whenever we're baking it. I've got my cookie cutter or biscuit cutter, and I'm going to start on the ends and go around. Now some people will cut their biscuits straight down and pull up. I like to twist mine. Some of you are probably going, oh, no, don't twist it because that's going to make a lopsided biscuit. Hey, if Alton Brown says it's okay to twist your biscuits if you're going straight down into your dough, you can twist it. And I have tried it both ways, and they come out fine. And I'm going to use these scraps to pat out some more biscuits. Now, unlike cookies, you want to make sure that these biscuits are close together. I used to work at the school when my kids were little, and I had a manager tell me, don't ever use one hand. Use 2 hands. We used to serve 600 students, so that was key to get the job done. Use both hands. Okay, now I'm going to gather up this dough, fold it on top of itself, pat it down to make it even, put the love in. You know, my biscuits used to be like hockey pucks, and I love biscuits. When my kids were little, they used to say, oh my gosh, you're making biscuits again. That's okay, let's just have the pancakes. It was at the schools that I learned how to make really good biscuits. You don't work your dough a lot. You don't handle the dough a lot. It has to be a wet dough. Okay, I'm going to go back into the flour. Twist. Twist. And twist. All right. So we have a dozen biscuits here. I don't like to handle my dough too much, but you can if you want to cut out a few more biscuits. But what I do instead is I make a little treat. I roll this out and put it up against my biscuits so they don't run off of the pan. And then when this comes out, I put butter and cinnamon and sugar on it. See, I like to do that because I like for the biscuits to be up against something like this is up against the pan. Want them close together so they don't collapse. And let's put our little biscuit barrier there. The last thing that you want to do, you need some kind of protein to keep the biscuits from burning. So I just kind of lightly put some milk. I drink 2% milk, but when it comes to baking, it's whole milk all the way. So I've got some whole milk here that I'm brushing the tops of my biscuits with. Okay, dozen biscuits. As I said, if you want to make these a little bit thinner and press out more biscuits, or even use this little dough barrier to make more biscuits, you can, but this is enough for our small little family. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 365 degrees, and I'm going to put this on the wire rack in the middle. Now I do use parchment, or you can use a sill pad. If you don't have the parchment, put it on an ungreased baking sheet. Off we go. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 9 minutes. These biscuits will take anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes. The reason why I set it for 9 minutes is because I'm going to rotate the pan and bake them for another 9 minutes. I wanted to mention that I did use a regular biscuit size cutter that's 2 inches in diameter. But if you want to make a biscuit sausage sandwich, you can use a bigger biscuit. Or you can even use these little mini biscuits. Okay, I'll see you guys in 9 minutes. Okay, time to rotate. I'll set this for 9 more minutes. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice. Now I've got some butter. I'm going to butter these biscuits. And we'll butter this barrier too. Later we'll sprinkle some sugar and cinnamon on it. It could be somebody's treat. See how flaky those are? Flaky. Again, if you have lopsided biscuits, it's because you made them too tall, not because of the twisting motion from your biscuit cutter. Okay, let's see how flaky these biscuits are. Well, I'm going to have 2. They're steaming hot. These are so flaky. What do you think, folks? Put a little bit of butter in. Some melted butter. This is a favorite of ours on Saturday and Sunday. Wow. I put out some jelly, biscuits and jelly. We typically have biscuits and gravy, cream gravy, which I can do that in another video to show you how to make the cream gravy to go with your hot buttered biscuits. I want to see if these are tender. They're tender. So there you have it, friends. Tender, flaky buttermilk biscuits. If you enjoyed this recipe as much as I enjoyed making it for you, or you learned something today, please like and subscribe and ring the notification bell. And please feel free to leave any comments. So until I see you in my next video, stay happy and stay healthy. Thank you.